Ladies and gents, we finally may have some good news about this football club. It could be lies and absolute BS, but there's a little bit of me that believes it. And that little bit of me thinks that this could actually happen, looking at the current position and the current state of this football club. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We're steamrolling our way towards 50,000 subscribers, and we're 606 to be precise from 45K. Newspapers, The Guardian, The Independent, The Sun, and ITKs all over the socials are linking the Qataris again to Tottenham. One newspaper's even come out and said Daniel Levy could remain even with a potential Qatari takeover. I'm going to be brutally honest right now. The football club is in a mess, dire straits. We are in the pits. The football club, the fans, the manager, the players, we are not singing from the same hymn sheet. We've just been knocked out of 2 cups in a matter of days. We're on our worst run in the Premier League ever, statistically. We've got our lowest percentage of a win rate under a manager. We've got injuries ripping through our squad like the plague. We haven't had a fit centre-back pairing since the 8th game of this season. We've had to play teenagers out of position and week in, week out to a high standard. This may be some good news. Fingers crossed. It could, like I said, it could be complete and utter BS. The Guardian have reported saying the Qataris want to buy a percentage and also be the majority shareholder at Tottenham. Cast your mind back to Sheikh Jassim back in the summer, who is part of the board of the Qatari investment firm, which is the majority shareholder at PSG. They wanted a minority stake. Daniel Levy met one of these investors in Baku in Azerbaijan at one of the Grand Prix events a couple of years ago. And Daniel Levy has, according to reports, is interested in bringing on a investor. Daniel Levy, when it comes to off-field decisions, is the best out there when it comes to making financial decisions off the field. When it comes down to building a go-kart track underneath, when it comes down to, the facilities we've got at the stadium, at the training ground, when it comes down to Tottenham as a brand, we've got the NFL deal where NFL teams will play at the stadium. You've got rugby concerts, Beyonce, and all these different revenue streams. But I just think his decision-making when it comes to on-pitch decisions is some of the worst we have had in my lifetime. It is absolutely diabolical. Not giving a manager the adequate tools to always buying the second best option. When you think back to Jose Mourinho, wasn't backed properly. Pochettino, once we were the favourites to sign Coutinho, Dybala, Bruno Fernandes, and we ended up bringing Lo Celso. Jose wanted Ruben Diaz. We ended up signing Joe Rodon. Poch wanted Mane. We got Nkadu. He sacked Martin Yeo at half-time. Redknapp wasn't really backed, and a lot of managers have been hung out to dry, and we've had 24 managers during his time since 2001, and we only have 1 League Cup. Is it time for Daniel Levy to step aside and bring someone else on with a little bit more ambition, a little bit more bite, who's a little bit more, high risk, high reward, not necessarily risk averse? And the Independent are reporting that Daniel Levy could be given the chance to stay on at Tottenham by a consortium seeking to buy the club. It is understood that a group of Qatari investors are willing to give Levy a long-term contract to continue running Spurs as executive chairman. Retaining Levy could be a controversial, more given the empathy towards the chairman from Tottenham fans, but the investors are keen to remain his expertise. I'm happy if they want to remain his expertise for bringing all these revenue streams in, as long as the Qataris employ a unbelievable director of football who wants to build Tottenham and take us to the promised land. We have got, like I said, as a brand, we are elite. As a football team, we are in dire straits. We're currently sitting 14th in the Premier League. We're only above 16th in the Premier League on goal difference. You know, we are still technically in a relegation battle. We're only 10 points above the zone with some incredibly difficult games coming our way. We need someone with ambition. We need someone who wants to win major honours. Daniel Levy at a fans forum only a year ago said his best 3 achievements at Tottenham was getting to the Champions League final, was building that stadium, and I can't even remember what the last one was. Growing the football club. He didn't mention winning the League Cup. The game is about winning. You know, when players retire, they don't look back and go, do you know what? I played at the same stadium as Beyonce performed. I played at the same stadium where, you know, the Raiders from NFL performed, or I played at the same stadium where Anthony Joshua fought. No, they don't. They look back at what you've won, which is why Harry Kane, to this day, still gets criticised by rival fans because he hasn't won anything, because he was so loyal to the core to this football club. And now he's at Bayern Munich, and I hope they win the league this season. You know, it then goes on to say, Spurs have been open about the fact that they are seeking outside investment, with Levy saying last year that the club needed a significant increase in its equity base. The financial services group Rothschild have been appointed to advise on investment talks, but there are also outside interest in the takeover. Sources at the club insist that they are currently not involved in negotiations or a takeover. Spurs have been subject of a long-lasting interest from potential investors in America and the Middle East. No one has met the evaluation of a 3.75 billion valuation, which is just a little bit insane. But I do believe that there is a small percentage of truth in this story. It goes hand in hand when you look at, I don't think this story would have come out if Tottenham haven't been knocked out of both competitions domestically and would be currently sitting 14th in the Premier League. We've lost 13 games this season, which is more than Everton. West Ham, only one more than Ipswich. We've lost more games than anyone in the top 14. Sorry, lost more games than anyone in the top 16 teams. You know? And you look at the fixtures we've got coming up. Daniel Levy has to make a decision sooner or later regarding Ange Postecoglou. Our next 8 games are incredibly, incredibly tough. Manchester United, Ipswich Town away, Bournemouth and City at home, Fulham and Chelsea away, Southampton at home is the only game on here I can say with absolute confidence that I think Tottenham will win. Wolves away. You know, the Levy out movement is growing, and it's growing at a very, very high rate. We need change at this football club. I've been saying this for years. And if that is going to be a Qatari who's going to come in with a little bit of ambition, you know, on the PSR and the profit and sustainability rules, and when you look at how good we are when it comes to FFP, it makes a lot of sense for a, you know, an investor to come in, whether it's the Qataris, whether it's the Americans, whether it's, you know, this team or that team. It makes a lot of sense that Tottenham are sold. Daniel Levy has taken us from, well, a relegation zone to a relegation zone. We've had some, you know, decent times. We've been in finals. You know, we went unbeaten at home. We've beaten all these big teams, beaten Madrid, Barcelona, etc., etc. But that's not really, in the grand scheme of things, good enough for a club the size of Spurs. You look at Newcastle right now. They're flying. They're in a cup final. They're in the next run of the FA Cup. Their owners have shown a bit of ambition, and they've spent less money than us. They went out there and signed Alexander Isak for £70 million. And we signed Brendan Johnson for £55 million. That is a difference between a footballing director who knows what he's doing and a footballing director who is a puppet in a suit. So look, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think the Qataris could buy Spurs? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you drop a like on the video. I am